Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I thought I would share with you poetry for another installment of the Cafe/the Cafe Gallery book readings on Tuesday nights at the cafe and Wednesdays at the Gallery Cabaret. I would often start by reading a number of pieces from recent issues of Scars Publications magazines. Oftentimes when it was on a Wednesday and it had to run from 7 until 9, I had to start then so that we could get going and there wouldn't be enough of a guest list in it, so I'd start reading then as well. But I thought I would share with you poetry today. I thought I'd try a different location as well. It's always cool to have my paperback jacket from my last Chicago show at Gallery Cabaret before I moved to Austin, Texas, in the background here, and instead of showing books in the library, you see a few, but I thought I would have my David because I like David in my old house, and I just recently saw the Smiths-inspired movie Shoplifters of the World, and at the end it was even showing pictures of Morrissey and he's hugging a statue of David, and I'm like, oh, that's so funny, I have one. This is so cool, so why don't I share it in this reading for you guys. Instead of reading from usual Scars Publications books, since I am the publisher lady, I usually have so many, and I do, I thought I would share with you 3 poems from a book from cyberwit.net. It is a press based in India. They approached me and asked to publish a book of mine of poetry. I was honored and humbled, and just in the end of January, the book Eternal Never Ending Now was released. And I was honored when the sidekick Zoom host John F. McMullen of my own open mic poetic license that was originating here in Austin, Texas, but is now global through Zoom meetings because we can't go anywhere to be able to confront people and be face-to-face for open mics right now because of the pandemic. John suggested that I do a number of readings for this book, I believe in February or in March, I cannot remember. It was one of the first Sundays of the month, and so I read a number of pieces, but I thought I would share with you guys some older pieces that are in this book that you may have heard before. Some may have not, but I thought I'd share with you 3 poems. They're on the older side because this book covers poetry from my first poem I ever wrote, Under the Sea, which is in the back of this book, to one of the most recent poems I've written in the fall of 2020. So I thought I'd share with you a couple of older ones. I'm just going to sprinkle these in. They don't relate to each other. They do not relate to each other. But from this book, Eternal Never Ending Now, I'm going to share this first one with you guys. I might do a bonus one in here, which I wasn't planning on doing, but this poem is titled More Than We Should Have. When I think of him, I usually think about the drinking. Actually, I never think of him as drinking. Come to think of it, I just think of him as drunk. I can't remember seeing the drinks in his hand, but his perception of the world is always altered. But someone reminded me tonight of when he would work outside in the cold Chicago winters, and he would come back with his mustache frozen, and there would be little icicles hanging down toward his mouth. And then I thought of when I waited with him once at the airport because we were picking up someone, and we sat at the shrimp cocktail lounge, and he drank and ate, and I waited. And as we left, we tried to pay the expressway toll with pennies, but some of the coins fell to the street, and so we had to just throw more change at the machine. We paid more than we should have. I'm sure we did. I was planning on only reading 2 other poems for you guys, but immediately following that is another poem about him. and it was the last piece I wrote about him before he died. So this is a bonus I wasn't planning on reading, but I will share it with you now. This is titled The Truth Is Out There. We were of the same clan. We were of the same kin. We were brothers. Yes, we were compatriots, underlyingly, inextricably bound together. We're supposed to be so close, so I should know what happened inside you. I need to understand what changed you so deeply, how you lost your humanity. I've scoured the world to try to learn what happened to you. We all noticed the change, that your sense of the world was always altered, even though we seldom remember a drink in your hand. The truth is out there, is what I hear, but is that the key to unlocking how you relate to me? Is the truth not out there, but deep inside you instead? Or do you not see the change that's happened to your soul? Do you not see the changes under your skin? Something has infected you. Or maybe you let it in, and it destroyed your business, your marriage, and any love you may have ever felt from your only daughter. I don't know if I can find the answers to unlock the now inhuman part of you. They say the truth is out there. If only I knew where to look. And if only you wanted to be found. That was an added bonus, and I wasn't planning on reading that one. He never wanted to be found, is all I can say, and it breaks my heart. But on another sad and depressing tone, which is not related to the poems I just shared with you, this is a poem that some of you have heard out in the Chicago world. This is a poem titled Andrew Hettinger. I never really liked you. You never revealed yourself to me, and why would you? You who never had anyone. You who always had bad breaks. Everyone looked at you as different. Where would you have learned to trust? Who would you have learned it from? I never really liked you. I met you through a friend, and he explained to me that multiple sclerosis left you with a slight limp and a faint lisp. Faint, under the surface, but there. Traces of something no one would ever know of you well enough to fully understand. I never really liked you. You never revealed yourself to me, and I never wanted you to. You scared me too much. You plagued with physical ailments. You with a limp in your walk. You with a patch over your eye. You who stared me always for just a bit too long. They told me that the patch was from eye surgery with complications, and now you had to cover up your shame, cover someone else's mistakes, cover up something that you didn't commit, a wrong you did not commit. The problems, they were never of your own doing, were they? I heard these stories and I thought that it was sad. I heard these stories and thought that you had to be a pillar of strength. And then I saw you drink, straight from the bottle, 15-year-old Conti. And I saw you smash your hand into your living room wall. This is how you lived. Your house was littered. The house you lived in was littered with trash. Why bother to clean it up anyway? It detracted you from the holes in the wall, the broken furniture from drunken fits. This was how you reacted to life, to the world. You didn't know any better. This is how you coped. I never really liked you. You would come home from work, tell us about a woman who was beautiful and smart, that liked you, but she wasn't quite smart enough. And I thought, We believe anything if we tell ourselves enough. We weave these fantasies to get through the days. I never really liked you. Every time you talked to me, you always leaned just a little too close. So I stayed away from the house, noted that those whom you called friends did the same. I asked my friend why he bothered to stay in touch, and he said to me, but he has no friends. This is how I thought of you, a man who is dealt a bad hand, a man who couldn't fight the demons that were handed to him. And with that, I put you out of my mind, relegated you to the ranks of the inconsequential. We parted ways. You were reduced to a sliver of my youth. I received a letter recently. A letter from someone who knew you, someone who wanted me to tell my friend that they read in the newspaper that you hanged yourself. Your brother died in an electrical accident, and after the funeral, you went to the train station. Instead of leaving this town, you went to a small room and you left us forever. Strangers had to find you. The police had to search for records to identify your body. The newspaper described you as having health problems, but you knew it was more than that. And I was asked to be the messenger to my friend. The funeral had already passed. You were already in the ground. There was no way he could say goodbye. I shouldn't be the one to have to tell him this. No one deserved to tell him. He was the only one who tried to care. I never really liked you. No one did. But when I had to tell my friend, I knew his pain. I knew he wanted to be better. I knew he thought that you were too young to die. I knew he felt guilty for not calling you. He knew it shouldn't have been this way. We all knew it. I never really liked you, but now I can't get you out of my head. You haunt me for all the people that we've forgotten in our lives. I don't like what you've done. I don't like you quitting. I don't like you dying, not giving us the chance to love you or hate you or even ignore you more. My friend still doesn't know where your grave is. I'd like to find it for him and take him to you. Let him know that you did have a friend out there. Bring you a drink, maybe. A fitting nightcap to mark your departure, to commemorate a life filled with liquor, violence, pain, and death. I never really liked you, but maybe we can get together in some old cemetery. Sit on your gravestone, share a drink with the dead, laugh at the injustices of life when we're surrounded by death. Maybe then we'd understand your pain for one brief moment and remember the moments that we'll always regret. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I never showed my friend, but his brother found that poem on the web and contacted me, and he was in town, and he said, no, not his brother, obviously not his brother, one of his friends from high school saw that, and he lived in the same town, and he said, the next time you're in town, I'll take you there, I'll show you where it is. And I didn't go with my friend that was in this poem. I didn't know where he was. I think he was on the other side of the country at the time living. But I went with my husband, and we brought a can of beer after having Taco John's beforehand, and we shared a beer with the dead, and I read that poem there even, which is just weird to do, but, life is filled with weirdness, I guess. And then I've been doing a lot of pieces that are depressing. I've got something that's political for the closing piece, and some people know this piece, and when I'm looking at the clock over there, this would be probably close to the time I would be coming up with a list for people on a Wednesday night, or I would be setting up and starting to read things for the beginning of the open mic at the cafe on Lincoln Avenue near Foster. Anywho. But this is a poem that I've shared with some of you guys. You may know it. This is a 2016 edit of the poem, The State of the Nation. My phone rang earlier today, and I picked it up and I said, hello. And the man at the other end said, is this Janet Kuypers? And I said, yes it is. May I ask who's calling? And he said, yes, hi, it's me, this is George Washington. And I'm sitting here with Jefferson and a couple other guys here, and we just wanted to tell you a few things. And I said, why me? And he said, excuse me, I believe I said that I was the one that's going to be doing all the talking. God, that is a problem with Americans nowadays. They are so damn rude. And I said, you really didn't have to use language like that. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, it's just that I've been dead for so long. I lose all control of my manners. Well, anyway, we just wanted to tell you some stuff. Now, I know that we didn't have much of an idea of what we were doing when we were starting this country here. I mean, we didn't have much experience in creating bodies of power. So I could understand how our Constitution could be misconstrued. And then he put in a dramatic pause and said, but when we said that people had a right to bear arms, we meant to protect yourselves from a government gone wrong, and not so that you can kill a 16-year-old girl at an ATM at 6 p.m. for $20 cash. And when we said freedom of religion, we included the notion of the separation of church and state, because freedom of religion could mean freedom from religion. And when we said freedom of speech, we had no idea you'd be burning the flag, or painting pictures of Christ doused in urine, or photographing people with whips up their respective anatomies. But hell, I guess we gotta grin and bear it, because if we ban that, the next thing they'll ban is books, and we can't have that. And I said, but there are schools that have books banned, George. And he said, oh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was your installment of 3, actually bonus 4 poems from the book Eternal Never Ending Now, a book that I am humbled and honored to have as a collection of poetry, published from the opposite side of the planet, spanning 30 years of writing. It is available through cyberwit.net. I believe my book is still listed on the front page for it. You can also find it if you're in the States, if you don't want to buy it through them. They are $15 each, I believe, but you can find it through Amazon. If you wanted to find it through that, you could find it through janetkuypers.com, or even Scars Publications, Scars.tv. Even though it's not a Scars book, I designed it, so I'm like, I can list this in here just so that the world sees in the book's listing that this book exists as well. So you can check it out there and find it if you are interested, and it is $15 through cyberwit.net. And I'm going to stop talking because other people should be creative now and performing now and enjoying their evening. And David here is hanging out with me, which is double plus awesome. So I hope everyone is doing really well. I hope everyone remains safe. I hope everyone gets their vaccines if they're not afraid of drugs and the government, because I've heard people saying that they're not touching it without all the recording and proving that can be done for it. So whatever works best for you is what works best for you. Just continue to stay safe. If you are getting exasperated because we're still stuck in this, well, who knows? It might start opening up a little more pretty soon. Who even knows? And know that you're not alone and that you are loved, and we'll all get through this. So I want each and every one of you to hang in there. As I said, stay creatively inclined, stay strong, and I will talk to each and every one of you very, very soon. Thank you very, very much.